Welcome to 28 Days and Beyond.
The show where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture.
I'm Amari.
I'm Kharisma. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Amari.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Got a question
Delightful.
for you.
Okay.
Do you, where are you from?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, we're in Philadelphia.
North Philadelphia.
North Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you feel a responsibility to the community or the people with whom you were raised?
In what regard?
I mean, as you grow and, you know, move on in your career and, you know, blossom as a human being, right?
Yeah.
And this is a question, I don't want you to feel obligated to say yes or no, but you know, all the time we talk about giving back.
Yes.
Right? Do you feel the need to give back? Do you feel that's important?
I do. I feel like, particularly where I came from.
Yeah.
I grew up in a neighborhood in North Philadelphia where a lot of my peers did not make it to their 30s, or they were locked up, or their families were locked up. So there was a lot of factors that were preventing people from being able to get to a certain point in their life. So as my career continued to progress, I felt like it was my responsibility to share my story, because I felt like, not that I'm exactly where I want to be in life, but just being able to get to the place that I am now, I felt like it was a responsibility of mine to share my story and to also encourage people to keep going despite what their current situation is. So yes.
So what does giving back look like on a practical level?
I think it can look like a variety of things. I think more than anything, it's giving your time, right? So being present in some regard, I think, is where it starts, this idea of giving back. What are your thoughts?
You know, one of the, when I worked at a school that we had opened in our house in New Orleans, the thing we would say every morning was, I will use my skills and talents for the betterment of my people, right? And I think it's one of the things people think, oh, giving back means I'm gonna give out turkeys at Thanksgiving or something like that. But it's like, no, I've developed a skill set that is now used in the service of my community. I think that's really important.
It is really important. And for me, particularly, like, I've made it a point to work with organizations that help children and women, because these are two of the things that my heart has just kind of pushed me to.
Well, today we're fortunate enough to be joined by Pat Williams, who has a tremendous story of, and I don't even want to say giving back, but growing with, you know, a community of people. So more with Pat Williams when we come back on 28 Days and Beyond. And we're back on 28 Days and Beyond with Pat Williams. Pat.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Man, so tell us a little bit about your story and what got you to where you are today.
Well, my name is Pat Williams. I'm 27. I like walks on the beach.
My
name is Pat Williams. I'm from Florida.
Okay.
And I won't say a particular place because, like, I bounced around. Okay. I would say my hometown is Orlando, Florida. I graduated high school from Fort Lauderdale. My story started when I was about 11. You know, my mom had cancer. And it was, like, difficult because, you know, my mom was one of those people that you always had to see her, like, at her strongest. She never wanted to look weak. So, you know, at that time, like, we had to stay with, like, my grandparents. Well, my grandparents really wasn't fond of me because, like, you know, I was a troubled kid. Like, the whole, you know, when dad's not home, like, you know, young men, we tend to act up. So I was always out in the streets, dipping and dabbing, just doing whatever I could for me to eat and survive. You know, like, as I got older, I started hanging around the wrong crowd, and I watched my best friend get killed right in front of me.
Wow.
So, you know, I talked to my mom, and that's when we decided that, you know, you need to leave. So I moved to Fort Lauderdale when I was about, I would say 15, 16, and I was living with my mom's side, with grandparents on that side. And there, you know, I'm a heavy kid, I like to eat, and they weren't doing too well. So, you know, it came to a point where it was like, look, we know you like to play football, but you either gonna work or you gotta leave. And, you know, I wasn't ready to work, but I knew how to make money. Let's just say that. But, you know, at that point, it was time for me to make a change because I knew it was gonna, like, leave me end up in jail or in the streets. So, you know, I was real smart. I got connected with this guy that was just, you know, training kids at a park. You know, I used to go up there just to chill and, you know, do certain things with my friends. But when I knew it was time to change, you know, I started talking to this dude, and he was like, look, man, like, just come work out. Like, you play football. And I'm like, you know, I can do whatever. Like, I'm black. Like, that's what I thought. Like, when you black, you can play basketball, you can play football, you can do whatever. So I'm like, it's whatever, man. Like, let's do it. But I really didn't get that father figure type feel yet. But I, like, now that I'm older, I feel like this is where it was headed. And, you know, like, he would, you know, help me, like, with, like, learning what football was about. He would teach me certain things. And I'm like, you know, this is all being done for free. So it came to a point where, you know, a young woman was shot at the high school that I transferred at. So I wanted to leave, and I signed myself up for this private school. I knew how to do taxes because I did them for my mom. So I kind of knew, like, how paperwork went and all that. I did my essay, and then I got in. When it was time for the parents to come to, like, you know, tour the school, I had, like, my cousin and my aunt that lived down there to come with me because I didn't have nobody. But the school didn't know that. So I ended up getting into the school. It was a predominantly Jewish school. And I've never been close to white people at this point. I'm just like, I'm culture shock. But, you know, being with my mentor, I learned that, you know, sometimes a man has to learn how to stand alone on his own 2 feet in order to move forward. And that's what happened. So my whole mindset was, I'm going to do the unthinkable. As a kid from the hood, I joined the chorus. I learned about Les Mis. And, you know, it was cool. And, you know, the passion you seen kids have in certain things. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. I joined the band and learned how to play the tuba. You know,
you look like a tuba player.
Yeah, you know, one bed, one son. It was fun because I could relate to all of it. But, you know, the thing of it was I was ready to be different.
Yeah.
And show people that look just like me that, you know, yo, we can do this. And that was at a young age, and that's when I really started seeing things take a turn. You know, my mentor started taking me to football camps. He started training me, and he never asked me for a dime because he always told me, he was like, somebody did it for me, and your time will come soon. And I, like, at that point, like, I'm like, all right, whatever, like, we going to Florida State. Like, I'm trying to get a scholarship. So I'm thinking about all these big time schools, like, man, I'm trying to get here, I'm trying to get there. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I didn't have anybody. Right. So this is when I started to lean on my mentor, like, more and more and more. And I got into the private school, and I meet this guy named Roger Harriet. He was my head coach. He's like 5'6", like, short dude. And he was like, look, man, you know, you're getting better. Like, you know, I love what I'm seeing. Like, you got your first offer from Buffalo, committed, like that.
So from there, we definitely want to get more into your story and even get more into how now the things that you do with giving back. But we have to take a little bit of a break. So we'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this.
And we're back on 28 Days and Beyond with Pat Williams. So before the break, you were saying that, all right, so it's getting later in high school. Things are getting serious.
So, you know, I'm starting to get my offers. I'm taking my visits. And, you know, my coach, he was like, you know, I went to Villanova University, and, you know, they want to take a look at you. And I'm like, Villa who? Like what? Like, bro, like, I'm not leaving Florida. But, you know, talking to my mentor, he was like, yo, you know, you need to leave. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I'll take my visit. So I ended up not going to Buffalo because I committed there in the summer, and then I realized January it was too much. So, you know, I got up to Villanova, and I really wasn't feeling the visit, and then I met this dude named Hezi, and the only thing he said, you know, if you come here, I'll take care of you. I didn't know what that really meant, but my thing was seeing somebody like me at a predominantly white university. I got you. I'm good. One mentor to the next is passing the torch. So, you know, when I got here, it wasn't easy, but, you know, I had my coaches, and I had, like, a teacher, like a professor that really stuck by me the whole way through, and, you know, is still by my side now. And, you know, like, you know, transitioning over into graduating from college, you know, there's many jobs that I had. You know, I didn't, you know, everybody thinks that when you graduate school, it's just
you have
money.
All figured it out.
And it's not. So, you know, I was a manager at Sherwin-Williams, and the money was good, but my love for it wasn't there. And then I taught in Harrisburg, which is known to be one of the roughest areas in Pennsylvania, and that's our capital. And I loved what I was doing there because I was there for the kids.
Right.
But there's some times where there's people there for a job and there's people there for the kids, and sometimes they just don't work together.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and my thing was I was training kids in basketball, and they were on gangs. And they never led to fights because the thing was they were doing what they loved, and they had somebody there that had passion.
Mm-hmm.
So once I left that job, you know, I started working out at Planet Fitness, and, you know, I was coming across kids that were just like me because I live in Coatesville. And, you know, basketball is the biggest thing, but when it snows, you don't have nowhere to do football training, you know. And then when football does come about, you have all these businesses and organizations that charge so much. So how do we get these kids to get looked at by universities? How do we get these kids to not be so depressed because they aren't the same height and size of a kid that's getting offered a D1 scholarship for basketball and things like that?
Well, how you do it?
So my thing was,
how do you do it?
You know what? How about I show you the way? So my thing is I'm training kids from low cost to zero because of not only my passion, but my mentor told me that one day it was going to be my time to give back, and, you know, my time is now. And, you know, I'm getting ready to do so many things now that, you know, because I've been patient, because it's been a long road. Like, I'm trying to get followers on Instagram. I'm trying to get people to buy into what I'm trying to do. And till this day, it's just me. But that's okay because, you know, I got people that's like, look, if you want to host a combine, which is going to get kids ready to get looked at universities, I'm like, well, how about I videotape it so I can send it off to schools? That way, you know, if you don't have $300 to travel to Penn State or Pitt or Florida State to travel to do these camps, let's just do one big camp here and I'll send it to them. You send me your highlight tape and I'll send it to them. You send me your SAT scores and I'll send it to them. You come to me with a question about what and what not to do at college, and I'm going to give it to you.
Wow.
I was up here, I was down here, but I made it through.
Right.
And I'm going to make sure that any young man or young woman that is up under my roof, which is, you know, right here, the Will to Train, they're going to be okay, and I'm going to take care of them. Because at the end of the day, we all need somebody to look after us, and it don't cost a dime to be rich.
That's very true. So where can people follow your journey?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Will to Train 52. That was my football number in college. I only do Instagram. I'm really not big on Twitter. I'm not big on social media at all. So what I do is I'll put some motivational things out there for people that want to lose weight and things like that. But also for those youth and high school athletes, I'm telling them how to get better in training, but you got to watch what you post. You got to watch what you do, because these college coaches and these professionals are now looking at you at a younger age, because they're investing $250,000 in you, and that they're going to give it to you.
Absolutely.
Man, Pat, we really appreciate you telling
absolutely.
the story,
Thank you
man.
so much.
This is really inspirational. Make me want to step my game up.
I know, me
you know
too.
What I'm saying? There's always more we could be doing. It seems like you're doing a lot, man. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you for hanging out with us on 28 Days and Beyond.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more. We're back, 28 Days and Beyond.
Yes, we are. What are your thoughts, Amari?
You know, I was joking with him, or was it on camera when I said it makes me want to step my game up.
Oh yeah, no, that was on camera.
Yeah, you know, because one of the, and I was serious. I want, you know, because one of the things I think is really important is, you know, a lot of times in our mind we overlook that change happens in
increments.
Yeah, small, consistent interactions. It doesn't have to be some big, I'm gonna put on this big, you know, benefit concert, or I'm gonna. It's like, no, man, I take time to talk to my neighbors. I take time to play or engage or build relationships with people, because I think that that's ultimately, here I go, what makes the world go round.
Hey now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the relationships that we have with other people. That's what we remember.
And
you know?
also just, you know, he mentioned passing the torch.
Yeah.
His reaching back into the community really stemmed from other people doing that for him. You know, other people taking the time to say, okay, this has been my experience. I know that my experience can help this kid. And then the fact that people invested in him, that made him then want to go back and say, okay, now I see people and they have similar experiences to me. How can I use the information that I have? How can I use the experience that I've had just walking through life to help give back to this group of people? And it was a matter of seeing like, oh, okay, this is a need. I know how to help these kids that can't do this traveling. I can help them with the, you know, and a lot of giving back is giving access. So when he said, you know, for the kids that can't travel to Florida State or, you know, wherever, just being able to film, you know, their tape and send it to somebody, like just taking small steps that are really big steps in helping people move forward in life.
You know, one of the things we didn't talk too much on camera with him about, but so obviously though this is all fueled by his passion for young people.
Yes.
It's fueled by his passion for athletics, right? So he's also a, you know, a personal trainer now, but he's, you know, was in athletics. So being able to merge those two worlds, his passions are really what keep him doing this, and you know, who knows who he's going to impact.
I mean,
you know.
the possibilities are literally endless.
So what's up? What you going to do?
What am I going to do? I got a list.
Word. Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely, you know, because, you know, better or worse, Black History Month is when we take the time to think about things that have to do with us. You know, so at the very least, let's take this month to really consider how are we going to live all year in a way that really is benefiting our community.
That's a mouthful that you said there.
Well, you know, I'm just trying to be inspirational.
A wealth of knowledge with Amari Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
This has been another episode of 28 Days and Beyond,
where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture. We'll see you next time.
See ya.